Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Money, Real Business podcast. I'm Lauren, and today we have Abby on the show, who's selling a display advertising, Amazon Associates, affiliate, sponsorship, digital product, and lead generation business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Hey Abby, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Good, thanks Lauren.
Great. Yeah, really happy to have you on the show. Can't wait to learn more about your business. Before we dive in though, let's go over a brief summary of the business. This is a display advertising, Amazon Associates, affiliate, sponsorship, digital product, and lead generation business. It was created in February 2019, and it's in the health and fitness niche. The average revenue for the business is $28,372 per month, and it makes an average of $28,100 per month in net profit. The assets included with the business are a primary domain, including all site content and files, employee and freelancer relationships, Facebook and Instagram social media accounts, courses and training programs, an email list with 12,713 subscribers, affiliate relationships, and a content plan. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 61702 to learn more about this business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that we know more about the business, let's hear from the seller. Avi, can you fill us in on your background in starting and running online businesses?
Sure. So specifically with the business that we're talking about today, I started it in February of 2019. And I started it at the tail end of another business that I ran for about 5 years. It was a SaaS business in the fitness space as well. And it was within that business where I learned a little bit more about SEO, and we had a bit of a content marketing strategy, which gave me the confidence to, when I exited that business, to begin down this current project and starting this content website. Over the last 10 years, I've started several offline and online businesses. I guess the common thread among everything that I've done is that everything's been within the health and fitness industry. So as a young kid, my dad took me to the gym when I was 12 years old. I developed a passion for fitness, and I went off to do a master's in exercise science. And I've worked in gyms before as a personal trainer, and I've been the head strength and conditioning coach for many sport teams where athletes have gone on and achieved international success. And so, while the current business, the content site, is my first content site, and it's been really successful, and I now have a couple of other content websites, it has been built on the back of a long sort of history, building businesses in this space.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's always a really great thing to be able to combine your passion and your job. So really glad that worked out so well for you. This business earns money from a variety of different monetizations, but display advertising is the main one. What attracted you to the display advertising business model?
Well, initially, the type of content that we were putting on the website was just very conducive to display advertising. So it makes up about 65% of the revenue. And yeah, it's because a lot of content on the website is just informational based, answering a lot of, queries around, how to exercise properly and how to get started in the gym and these sorts of things. Over the years, we have seen advertising become more and more lucrative just because RPMs have been going up year after year after year. And, there's a few reasons for that. Mediavine is always, innovating on, their tech stack and offering additional features for publishers. And, we're also seeing that because we've had our site on Mediavine now since I think the end of 2019, we start to see some of the pieces of content that perform really, really well with advertising. And so not just the topics, but also the formats that work really well. And so, we've been able to pick out those outliers and say, okay, let's produce more content like this. And so we've seen over the years, like in 2020, our RPMs were $14, and that was across the entire year. That's the average. Then in 2021, our average RPMs were $24. Okay.
Wow.
And then so far this year, and we've only been dealing with the first 6 months of the year, our RPMs are $27. So we're just really sort of hyper focused on what's the kind of content that advertiser friendly, and we've just sort of honed in on that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. As I mentioned, this business earns money from a variety of different revenue sources. So, can you walk us through the other revenue streams apart from display advertising?
Sure. So we are an Amazon associate and we have other affiliate relationships, which make up about 20 to 25% of the overall revenue. We have really, really strong affiliate relationships. I regularly talk to the owners of these businesses. They're very motivated to work with us, and we rank very well for affiliate content in our industry. It actually surprises me because, we're a DR47 website and we're consistently outranking and competing with, DR65 plus for the same affiliate keywords. And it's just because of, we really take pride in the type of affiliate content that we produce. We like to get our hands on the products and take custom pictures and, really put the products through proper testing and a review process. The other, 10 to 15% of the revenue is split between digital products, sponsorship, and lead generation. So I'll just break those down individually. So digital products, we have 3 online courses that we sell, and we have 14 training programs. So these are like fitness training programs. Sponsorship, this is where we actually work with our affiliate partners to promote their products more widely across the website to give them more exposure. So it's sort of a newer monetization that I've just started to implement on the website for the last 6 months. And it's just to sort of expand the relationship with existing partnerships with our affiliates. And so, some of the things that we do here are, maybe promoting them a bit higher in our roundup reviews, or giving them more exposure when we mention, in informational articles, when we mention, certain problems, they're the solution, these sorts of things. It's actually quite lucrative because, they're willing to pay sort of monthly for that exposure. And so it's good recurring revenue. And then the lead gen aspect is we have naturally people coming to the website who are interested in topics around fitness and working out and things like this, who would naturally want to hire a personal trainer. In fact, we have people just reaching out through our contact form, like wanting to do that. And so what we did is we just set up a landing page and said, hey, if you're interested in hiring an online personal trainer, this is somebody who can, review exercise technique through video. This is somebody who can, write your training program and monitor it week to week and be there for the motivation. That person is in place and willing to pay on sort of a lead gen model. We have had some success with that. We don't promote it a whole lot, but we could do a whole lot more. But that is in place, and we do get some revenue from that as well.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like there's a lot of demand for the content that you produce, and that's how you've been able to expand into these other revenue streams. And as you say, the site is built off the back of a major passion of yours. So with all of that in mind, why have you decided to sell the business now?
So I'm at the point now, the website growth has been significant. It's a bigger asset than I ever thought that it would be, and it's continuing to grow. And I'm sort of at the point where I have a significant amount of my own personal net worth wrapped up in this single asset. And so I just think from a portfolio approach, when I take a look at, how my money is distributed across my entire portfolio, I just want to redistribute some of the funds to be more equally spread out across different investments. So, across real estate, across my stock portfolio, and obviously continue to invest in the other content websites that I own. I have one in particular that is growing and, becoming just as much of a success. And I'd like to, have a singular focus. One of the reasons why the current website that we're talking about has been such a success is because I've pretty much just focused on this for, since 2019. It's only been recently where I started up these couple of other websites. So I definitely think that, focusing is an important part of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking back at the growth of this business, what would you say was your biggest win since starting the business?
I think that the biggest win is that I've built just an extremely stable asset. I know that, people in the SEO industry and people who run content and affiliate websites, they sort of feel like they're at the whim of these Google algorithm updates. But with this website, we haven't been affected by a Google algorithm update. So I think that just having, stability in the business has been a huge win for us. There's been some really volatile updates over the last couple of years, and some what seems to be, tragic stories of websites just totally tanking. But, ours seem to only either stay static through those updates or see a bit of an increase.
That's amazing. Yeah, as you say, Google algorithm updates cause a lot of havoc within the industry. So the fact that you've managed to avoid that is a huge win. On the flip side of the coin, what would you say was your biggest setback or challenge?
And there's the obvious challenge of, having to wait around for so long before, SEO starts to pay dividends, in terms of, not seeing traffic and then all of a sudden, okay, this is working. But, that's sort of what everybody kind of goes through. I think specifically for myself, what took a little bit of time to sort of figure out was how to properly write product reviews. It just didn't come natural to me. And so it took a while in terms of like figuring out what that template looks like, what to include and the type of language that you use and how you can sort of incentivize the user to make the click. That has been a challenge, but it's something I've been figuring out for the last 3 years, and we have a good system for it now. But certainly in the early days when I was like, I really want to review this content, how do you actually come up with a template to do that? It was just a first for me, something I had never done before.
Yeah, it can definitely be tough trying to find the right formula for that. Speaking of your traffic, where does the majority of your traffic come from?
Pretty much 90% plus Google SEO.
Okay, wonderful. And have you invested much time in optimizing your on-page SEO or creating backlink campaigns?
Sure, yeah. So when it comes to on-page, this is where we focus most of our time and attention. So when we think of like on-page SEO, the core part of it is understanding the search intent and why users are making that search query. And so what we really try to think about is what is the impetus behind somebody actually opening up their phone and typing in that keyword or typing in that question. Clearly they're having some sort of pain point or some sort of problem that is driving them to get answers and to search for a solution. And we really try to hone in on that trigger and then start to make assumptions about that user. Who are they? What do they know? What assumptions can we make in terms of what they know? What don't they know, right? What information are they missing if they're making this sort of search query? And we also like to think of like, where are they? Are they in the kitchen making this search query? Are they in the car, like outside of the gym? Are they in the gym? Like we literally try to get as detailed as possible in terms of like understanding why those searchers are making those queries. So from there, we can then craft the proper introduction. We can optimize for snippets. We can think about how we can naturally internal link to other pieces of content that are on our website and how that search query fits within the cluster. And then, what subtopics are we including, stemming from that main search query. So on-page is a big part of, I think, of our success. In terms of off-page SEO, there hasn't really been a focus. We've never really run a campaign per se. In the beginning, I used to actually freelance write for other websites, other fitness websites. And that was just out of a passion for, wanting to create content before I started this website. So there was some overlap there where I was writing for some other websites and it would naturally link back to this website. Obviously, like I said, I've had been in this industry for 10 years plus. And so I've just built up some contacts with other site owners and other businesses where I was able to get a guest post pretty easily and network like that. But there really has not been, a huge focus on off-page. We've never run a campaign and most of the backlinks are just coming in naturally.
Yeah, it sounds like you've certainly optimized your on-page SEO very well and you've got a good system in place there. Are you handling your SEO yourself or have you got the support of an agency?
No agency. Yeah, just everything done myself.
Okay, wonderful. And have you branched out in any other types of marketing, like on social media, for example?
We did some social media in the early days, like right when we started, in 2019. We might have continued with it into 2020 a bit as well. And this was on Instagram, just because the fitness industry is quite big on Instagram. It just sort of seemed like that we need something we needed to do. But I think we sort of got too early into that space because we hadn't really at that time optimized the website yet. And so we were doing too many things. And eventually I said, let's shut down the social media. And I'm not shut it down. It still exists, but let's switch our focus and just get the content on the website, where it needs to be and driving traffic to the website. So it really, over the last couple of years, the Instagram hasn't really done anything. I think it's something that, a new buyer could pick up if they wanted to. I think there's something like, 4,000 or 5,000 followers on Instagram, which is nothing, but yeah, a little bit of that. And then, we have an email list and we have a drip campaign that when people opt in, they receive emails from us, and definitely an asset where we can remarket to. But most of the focus has been on SEO.
Okay, perfect. Abby, what do you see as the major opportunities for growth with this business?
I think that there's several opportunities. Maybe I'll just highlight a few. And then, I just encourage anybody to go to the listing and to check out the listing and read some of the other opportunities that I've mentioned. But I will say that I think that an opportunity is just to continue on the same path that what we have done. The buyer is going to get a keyword hit list of hundreds of articles that, regardless if we were selling the business or not, we would be executing on. We think that they're good keywords. We think they fit within the existing architecture of the website. And there's lots of natural opportunity with internal linking and stuff like that. So we would just execute on that plan. And we think that will just continue to lead to more traffic and more revenue. And one other thing from the content perspective that we haven't really gone through a formal process, but I would probably, encourage a new buyer to do so, is we haven't really gone and updated older content. We have, from time to time, updated an affiliate post with up-to-date products and things like that. But we haven't really, systematically gone through and said, okay, we were ranking, number one for these keywords. Now they're 2 or 3. Let's go and update them and see if we can increase our rankings back up. We really haven't done that. So that could be an opportunity and something that I would encourage a new buyer to do. With respect to our affiliate content, I'm not really a CRO expert. I think if you were to go to like any other website and you go to, a roundup review or some sort of review post, you would see product boxes and comparison tables and all these things that help a user convert on that piece of content. We have none of that. Pretty much the call to actions are text links. And that's the extent of our CRO on those affiliate pages. We do have some pop-ups on some affiliate offers, but certainly a new buyer could implement even more pop-ups and things like that. A really, really big opportunity for the buyer is this, which is optimizing the email list. Now, I'll just take a second here to explain the context here. We have an email list of like 11,000, 12,000 people, and people will opt into that email list through a pop-up that we give away a couple of free ebooks. That is the only place that people can opt into that email list. And after talking to some email marketing experts, they're like, you need to make this way easier for people to opt in. You need to have in-content ways for people to opt in. You need to have it on your homepage, on your navigation bars. So it's really, really just hard for people to opt in. I would make it easier for people to opt in. The other thing is that we have a drip campaign that goes out to this list. I think it's like it's just every week an email gets sent out to this list, gets dripped out automatically, I think over the course of like 8 or 10 months. And that drip campaign was created almost 2 years ago. And so we really haven't updated it in like 2 years, even though we've produced a ton more content since then. And I know that we don't have a single affiliate offer in that email list. So there's a lot of opportunity. The email list is highly engaged. There's a good open rate and they're liking the content and they're engaged with it. But I think it could be optimized. And one of the ways that I think it could be optimized is by better promoting our digital products. So our digital products right now make up about 1.5% of our overall revenue. So as I mentioned, we have 3 courses and 14 fitness programs. And right now on the email list on our drip campaign, we actually only market one of those courses. We don't market the other 2 courses or the training programs. And so I think if there was a better strategy there, it could really blow up for a new buyer. The reason why I say that is because we've actually done just some campaigns over the years where we've just promoted a course, separate and aside from the drip campaign. And it's brought in $15,000 in revenue just with 3 emails. And so It's a very active list. It can be monetized. It's just way under monetized. I will just mention one other opportunity, and this is specific if you have a e-commerce background or an e-commerce company in the fitness niche. And we've had over the years, e-commerce companies in the fitness niche want to acquire this business because the products that we're affiliates for are very easy to make. They're simple to produce and they have good margins. So, if you wanted to, swap out the affiliate links for your own private label products, it's a huge opportunity. I'll leave it at that because I know that, somebody who's an e-commerce person will understand that.
Yeah, thank you for that. I mean, it certainly sounds like there are a lot of different opportunities for buyers to leverage there, which is always fantastic. It sounds like creating high quality content is your core focus with this business. So can you walk us through what your content creation process looks like?
Sure. And you're right about that. It is like the core part of our business. I mean, we're content first. When I first started the website, I wrote probably the first 100, maybe even 150 articles on the website. And I was pretty much just targeting problems that I knew existed in the industry that even if you were to, I don't know, I mean, we don't use SEO tools, but even if you were to look these keywords up in tools, it would probably show 0 search volume. But I knew that these problems existed because I've just been in the industry. So I would just write on these topics because I just knew that they were pain points. And so that was pretty much the first 150 articles. From there, we just sort of doubled down on the topics that were working for us. And so the ones that were ranking, the ones that were bringing in traffic, the ones that maybe had a similar format that we could duplicate. And we just sort of built on the success of that first 150 articles. I obviously haven't written for the website in a long time. We've hired upwards of 19 different writers over the years. We currently have a core team, which I can talk about. But these aren't your traditional writers that you hire off of Upwork or ProBlogger or whatever. I hired people who were experts in what they did, right? These are high level experts. So for example, people who have PhDs in biomechanics, people who have won medals at a world championships, okay, in their respective sport. They're not writers. They're people who can offer an incredibly unique perspective to the content we're creating. And then I just train them up on how to do web copywriting. And so I've trained them up. That took a long time and it was a process to get them up to speed. But that's something that is an incredible sort of asset to the new buyer, is that you will have access to these people who can create just next level content, which I think creates a moat around the business. I mean, if you just look into our content, you'll recognize that it's not your typical content website.
Yeah, absolutely. Having specialist writers write for you is certainly almost priceless. As you say, they're not just churning out the same content as other websites. They're writing from experience. How often would you say new content is added to your site?
So we add content every week. Our core team right now is 3 writers. One of those writers is actually our editor as well. And we produce around 20 articles a month with that core team. Certainly we could scale up, we could scale down, but that's just sort of the consistent sort of schedule that we're on right now.
Fantastic. You mentioned that, when you first started with the website, you were writing the articles and, coming up with keywords and topics from your own personal experience. Has that process changed now that you're a couple of years into the business and you have other people writing for you?
So we've identified categories on the website that have just done really, really well for us. These are topics that we can pretty much rank, within a couple of days on the first page and climb very quickly in the SERPs. So it's just like, we're doubling down on those topics. I can share that information with the new buyer. And like I said, there's hundreds more to do within those topics. So we're not really publishing in every single category on our website. We're just focusing on the categories that we know are performing well for us.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you don't write the articles anymore. Can you walk us through what a typical work week looks like for you now and what sort of tasks take up your time when running this business?
Sure. So pretty much just managing the team. So every role has very detailed SOPs, whether you're a writer or an editor or a VA. So everybody knows their job, what their responsibilities are, and they own those pieces of the editorial process. So my job is really to just make sure that there's enough keywords going into the pipeline. Like I said, I have that master spreadsheet of all the keywords, and I will put those into our production cycle. We use Trello for that, and I'll just put the keyword in there. Our editor basically takes that keyword, turns it into a title, turns it into a content brief, and sends it down the pipeline to the writers. And then the VA takes it and uploads it to WordPress and does the formatting and a few on-page things. But I pretty much will just put the keywords into Trello, and then I'm the one who hits the publish button, just for sort of a last quality check. And then that's it. And that doesn't take me very long. I'm not even doing that on a weekly basis because I try to put enough keywords into the pipeline where at least writers know that they have, 3, 4, 5 weeks worth of work coming up. So I might do that, every few weeks or whatever, put keywords into the pipeline, but I am the one pushing the publish button. So, whenever I get tagged and I see that an article is uploaded and ready to go, I'll scan through it for 30 seconds, make sure everything looks good, and I press publish. So that's pretty much the day-to-day, week-to-week. On a monthly basis, I'm trying to reach out to our affiliate partners and just updating them. And if we're creating any new content or we have created new content, I'll send them the link, and I just try to maintain those relationships. And obviously I do the bookkeeping and the payments and stuff like that. But at this point, it's more just high level strategy, just looking at, different ways that, we can maybe extract more value from the website, whether going after a certain set of keywords or, I'm not into the day-to-day anymore.
Wonderful. Yeah, it sounds like you've really streamlined all the processes, and I'm sure those SOPs will come in really handy for the new buyer as well. What do you think the biggest challenge will be for the new buyer when they take over this business?
So I think the biggest challenge is you're competing in a competitive industry. Fitness, health, it's a competitive industry. So I think that the challenge is just to continue to maintain the high quality content that we're outputting. That shouldn't be too hard to do. We have the writers in place, the SOPs in place, as you said. But I think that a lot of people might come and see an asset like this and see that it has a very high DR, and they might want to just cut corners with the content production and, in order to gain scale quicker. And, I think that the reason why we have stayed ahead of the competition and we've been able to compete for really competitive keywords is just because of the quality of our content. And so I think a new buyer will just have to understand, what quality means, how we produce our content, and just making sure that corners aren't cut. Because I think that I don't see Google as the main threat, where a lot of site owners would say, oh yeah, Google is the biggest challenge, but we play really friendly with Google. I think that competition is probably the biggest challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. How much support are you willing to offer the buyer to help them navigate these challenges?
Whatever they need. Yeah, I think I said, 30 days of support. And, I'm open to as many calls that they want to do within that 30-day migration. And if they, unlimited email, I'm free 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Basically, whenever they want to connect, I can help them through anything and walk them through the processes. And and then I'm happy to stick around ongoing. I think that what we could do is set up perhaps an ongoing consulting, relationship or something like that. If they felt like, they needed a once a month call or a strategy session or something like that, I'm happy to provide that to the buyer. I want them to, especially if they don't know the fitness industry, I'm happy to sort of be there ongoing.
That's great. I think buyers will find that very helpful. When it comes to the actual sale of the business, are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
Yeah, I'm open to any and all offers.
Lovely. And would you commit to a non-compete agreement?
Yes, I would. There would have to be some boundaries around it, though. As the new buyer will learn when they unlock this listing here, I have a small portfolio of two other websites that both operate in the fitness niche. Now, they don't compete with this business in the sense that there are, it's different keywords and sort of a different approach to the fitness industry. But a non-compete can't hamstring me from working in the fitness industry. Like, I've worked in the fitness industry for 10 plus years. I'm going to be working in the fitness industry for the next 10 plus years. So, it would have to be very, very specific to this business and couldn't prevent me from working on my other websites.
Yeah, sure. Well, Avi, thanks for giving us such a great overview of your business. All of that leads us to the final question of the interview, which is, if you had to put yourself into the shoes of a buyer, why do you think your business is a business worth buying?
I think that the fact that the site has only been positively impacted by Google algorithm updates over the years, that it's an extremely stable business from that perspective. Yeah, that can't be understated. I think that the Google algorithm updates have been quite volatile, but this business has just remained extremely steady and growing, which is another thing to consider for a buyer, is just the growth trajectory. Like, if you take a look at the listing and how the traffic and revenue have been growing month on month, I think it's an exciting business to pick up right now because it is growing. We're going into Q3, we're going into Q4. It's a very optimized business from that perspective. And I can't say this enough, but the team is and the content that we've put together is incredible. Like I said, our team, it's 3 writers. One of the writers is an editor, and we have a VA. That core team is producing content that is just far ahead of the competition. In fact, our editor, I think, is the best editor in the fitness industry right now. And I'm talking about any fitness website out there, any online fitness magazine. The editor that we have in place is just incredible and really has a pulse on the quality. And then, like I said, the content that we have produced across all of our 19 contributors, you will have access to that, to the ability to scale up with those contributors as well if you want to, who are all trained up as well. So the team is a total asset as well.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like a powerhouse team and a very exciting business, as you say. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners that I might have missed?
Sure. Just one more thing. I built this business to run itself. I might spend, a few hours here and there each week, but the business truly runs at a very high level and without me having to be in the day-to-day. So if you are somebody who is an investor who wants minimal operation, I think that this could be a good business to look at. So the business is there. All the SOPs are in place for the business, and it doesn't require a lot of my time day-to-day. So just wanted to mention that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Abby, for coming on and giving us a little bit more insight into you and your business. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much, Lauren.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 61702. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.